we all have a haunted house inside of us. And that haunted house holds the ghosts and the spirits and the scary creatures that we're afraid to face. This could be the critical part of us. It could be a part that sabotages what we do. And it's really important for us to understand a part of ourselves, which is called the giver. A combination between, Mother Teresa and Gandhi, a really selfless, compassionate, giving individual that will do anything for others. And when we look at that behavior in relationships and in us as individuals, ask yourself, what is the intention behind my giving? Is it really selfless? Or am I hoping for a pat on the back or some type of reward? When we are in the role of the giver, instead of internally validating ourselves for who we are, what we're good at, we only really feel good when we're doing things for others. And this is really problematic because when we're constantly giving, we're constantly in some type of cost. So we might not be giving to ourselves. We might be tired. We might be resentful. We can recognize the giver in ourselves by looking at the ways in which we overextend in our lives. So I would ask you to look at, when have you felt overwhelmed with responsibility? When have you felt too much obligation in your life? And have you had periods of burnout or depression or anxiety because of how much you're overextending and giving? Reining in the giver requires that you learn to have a sense of your own boundaries and what your rights are. And boundaries essentially are your ability to understand what you need and how to communicate that to others. Most people find it difficult to set boundaries in relationships because they are afraid of hurting someone or feeling rejected. And what's really important for us to acknowledge is that feeling guilty that we might be disappointing someone or hurting someone is completely normal and such a human response. What we do want to do is to learn how to lean into uncomfortable emotions such as guilt or the fear of rejection or the fear of judgment, and to recognize that in a healthy relationship, we can have those feelings, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the person that we're in a relationship with feels those feelings towards us. They might not actually be angry or upset with us for having boundaries or having needs. They might actually be really compassionate and understanding, and that can actually deepen a relationship to a whole new level when people are really honest about how they're feeling instead of pretending that everything is okay all the time. When we don't set boundaries, we might avoid the initial discomfort of feeling that guilt. But what we end up doing is we set up a behavior pattern and we fall into a pattern of never speaking up. And then we never get our needs met. And then we start to feel the costs. When you don't have boundaries, what it means is that you're not valuing yourself. You're saying that you don't matter in life, in relationships, to other people. When we delve into the haunted house, into all the parts of us that we are actually afraid of looking at, what we discover is the gold, which is the gold of our true needs, our true values and true priorities. And we are able to develop self-worth, self-awareness, self-compassion, and an understanding of what we actually really want for our futures, as opposed to what values and priorities have been given to us throughout our upbringing, through our society, and in our relationships.